pretty. Good morning, garden gals and guys. We have had a massive thunderstorm come through a couple days ago, and we were out of power for over 24 hours. So I am assessing some pretty big damage today, and I figured I'd bring you along to see it. Thankfully, no one is hurt. Our house is fine. Everything is okay. But it was a bigger storm than I thought. Okay, so we have a pretty big tree down, which is sad because this, I think, was a very old white pine. And if you look up to the top, it was nice and tall, and it broke all the way up there and is now right here. So we're gonna have to have a crew come in and see what the situation is here. There's also one that snapped over here. Not sure where that one came from, but it's not small. Oh man. So I'm grateful no one was hurt, nobody was out here. It didn't land on any of my garden beds, so we'll be okay. But it is a little sad to see a tree that's pretty old come down. You can see my beds, the wind just totally, everything that was nice and upright is flapping down now. I got a lot of production out of this, so I'll just have to come in and clean it up a bit. Even some dahlias have snapped, so this dahlia bed is not looking as great. And over here, you can see a bunch of them have been pushed forward. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not ideal. So I just need to come in and kind of cut. At least this didn't happen earlier in the season. I tell you what stayed nice and upright though. These zinnias look like they weren't even touched. Everything else has been visibly affected at least a little bit, but these zinnias held their own. Look at that guy. I needed to see that this morning. I was not in a good mood. That definitely helps. So this area back here on our property is something that was already established when we moved into our house almost 5 years ago, with perennials like hostas and different kind of native flowers, and all of these trees. Has a fairly large tree canopy. But did you guys see Laura from Garden Answers pond episodes with Aquascape? She did kind of a Chicago tour, which is where we're located. We're in the northern suburbs of Chicago, zone 5B/6A. So I'm kind of getting some ideas for maybe revamping this space a little bit, especially since these trees have tumbled down and there's a little more sun coming in. Those episodes were really inspiring and really neat. So I don't know. I mean, that's a project that would maybe be within a 3 to 5 year time frame, because I'm sure it's not cheap. We could maybe spruce this up a little bit over here. So we'll see. In our area, we have a very, very invasive weed called buckthorn that grows extremely fast, is tough to get out, and we usually have to have a landscaping company take them out. It's that almost tree-like looking thing there, but it's not just there. It's here, it's all the way back there. All those things in the middle there behind this tree that's down is invasive buckthorn. So I kind of am thinking I'd like to remove that and then see how much room we have back here, because it would really open up the space, and maybe do something with it with some sort of water feature. And I want to be very real. I haven't touched this area at all. So I have weeds coming out of the wazoo. However, This, I believe, is also called Saldango. Saldango, I'll put the name on the screen, but it actually looks pretty cool in some bouquets. It's like a very light yellow weed. You can see Virginia creepers back there. My son loves trudging through there, which is fun, but I think we could do something really quite nice if we plan ahead. Now we're in the front and you can see the driveway is a bit littered with things, and we've got some branches down. Nothing as bad as the back in the front, but we'll have to come and clean all of that. And there's a little pile up there. But this garden, I mean, these poor snapdragons were really whiplashed. Hey! Couple double stock right there. Okay. Stock in late August. That's unusual. Usually this is a spring loving flower, but it smells amazing. I'll take it. This is a little sad over here. My chimney rudbeckia. There's different variations of it, and it took a while this year, is really blown over. Let's see from this side. Well, it certainly, the blooms are pretty as they were last year, but they got blown. These are a bit blown. My celosia sunflowers I need to come in on too. I'm definitely going to use these guys though, because I've missed them. It took a while. My seedlings weren't the healthiest when I put them in, but it's a great cut flower. I really recommend it. And usually it's standing straight up. I'll put a picture on the screen of last year or some video footage. And it was great in here. Okay, I take that back. I've got one zinnia that's pretty whiplashed. I think it's still attached though. And the snapdragons are a little whiplashed, but I know this is child's play compared to people that have been through tropical storms and tornadoes, so I do have a grateful heart. Got a little twig here. This poor guy got decapitated, and I'm very glad it wasn't worse, but we are seeing some effects of it. Now, while we're on this little property tour, if you will, I want to be very crystal clear and transparent about the areas of my property that do not look great, that are actually pretty neglected and ugly. And I'm saying that because I've gotten a lot of sweet comments of, your cutting garden is so gorgeous and you were pregnant with twins, you're doing it all type of things. And they're very sweet comments, so thank you for that. I take the most care of my cutting garden, my raised beds in the front and in the back. That is where my attention goes. Now let me show you where my attention has not been, because I don't have it all buttoned up, my friends. Let's be very real here. I don't have it all buttoned up. Dun, 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 dun. My front porch area over here and my window boxes. Window boxes are toast, fried. They looked really great earlier. They were probably my favorite I've ever had. They were beautiful, but now pretty neglected. This red twig dogwood here, not looking great. And remember all those perennials I planted at the end of last year that I got on sale? Yeah. I had one, maybe two come back. Yeah, it's not looking great. Here's the pathway walking up to my front porch space. And yes, I did line them with rocks a couple years ago, but this is how they currently look. Very unappealing. Now, we don't have landscapers that come regularly for yard care. And I mean, look, this used to be planted last year. It is just covered with grass. So yes, it definitely bothers me, but you know what? We got a lot going on and I'm going to give myself grace. Close your eyes if weeds really bother you, because this is the east side of my house that you probably have never even seen. We've got some air conditioning units back here, and I usually have this cleaned out once a year. This year it did not happen, and my son actually loves to play with his dinosaurs back here, so, you know, it's like Jurassic World, but I definitely want him to watch out for those guys. Anyways, if we keep going back, I did manage to actually get some pumpkins planted from seed before the babies came. And I did manage to get them planted, and then I mean, this happened. So yeah, not really tending to this portion. I don't even see any pumpkins at this point. It was a good idea though. So obviously not very tidy. Not very tidy back here. And we're not done. We're not done with this part of the tour. This next space I'm going to show you looks incredibly untidy, but it also happens to be one of my favorite parts of our property because my 4-year-old son adores this space. And it just happened by chance a couple years ago when I got a bulk order of compost to put in my raised beds for my flowers. And the fun begins on the pile of dirt. Who's king of the hill? There was some left over in the driveway, and he took to it, and he plays on this dirt pile behind me more than any other toy, game, anything in the whole world. So there's toys everywhere, trucks, dinos, you name it, but it's my little boy's paradise, and it gets him outside, and it gets his hands in the dirt, so I wouldn't change it. Now, I would probably tidy it up a little bit, but we haven't got there yet. Let's take a look. It's gonna look extra untidy because of the storm, and we've got weeds growing out of the wood pile, and we've got a plastic bag that has blown over here from the recycling can. We've got a pile of things I need to move in the corner here. My husband also built him this little dirt station. He loves it. It's a little raggedy looking, but you know what? I actually love this too because he adores it. And my area that was looking so nice earlier in the year is looking pretty sad. And this is very visible. This is our driveway. So when our cars are not in the driveway, I mean, we're on full-fledged display here, my friends. Now, I really do want to come through and tidy this up a bit. I'm going to leave the dirt pile because he loves it, and I love that he loves it. But it's getting a little out of control. However, I'm being transparent, and, you know, these things happen. You've seen this because I showed you when that hollyhock was in bloom. Sometimes in the midst of chaos, beautiful things can grow. Look at this volunteer hollyhock in my greenhouse. Oh, love it so much. This has not seen any care, obviously, at all since my ranunculus and anemones were in here way early in the spring. But somehow this gem grew. And it was a beautiful, beautiful volunteer. I love that. Beauty in the midst of chaos. But this is what happens to the greenhouse after I move my cool spring ranunculus and anemones out of it. The small cut flower garden, weeds. Weeds, 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 weeds. I never even got to these planters over here. Although there is something kind of charming about this, I think that's purple bell vine, coming over this bench. That's our compost pile. And then we've got some weeds too. So, you know, not the most stunning area, but I do actually kind of like this area too, because those are raspberries that come over from our neighbor's house. I mean, those are eyesores, like, for sure. But this part here, I quite like. One more quote unquote ugly area here, my friends. I hope you're getting a kick out of this because part of me, not a big part of me, I'll be honest, not a big part of me because, like, this is life. Part of me was like, am I really going to show them all of these? This is the worst for me because we have had a beautiful patio in the past and I stay on top of it. But with the twinnies, not this year. Oh my, I didn't even notice this. Look at this rug. There's algae growing on the rug. I have algae growing on my outdoor rug, my friends. I do not have it all put together. Very clearly, not all put together. My dahlias and pots did terrible this year. Really, really not great. And this set here is on its last limb. I haven't touched these. These were blown over by the storm. And this patio with these cracks has been a struggle every year. Last year we paid to have it cleaned up. And I thought we found a solution to fill these in so that weeds wouldn't grow back, but I mean, those are, oh my, those are the cushions from the couch over in the corner. Oh, we got some more toys. I mean, it's a mess back here. So that was our back patio, and you can't see that from the front. I would not let that happen in the front. I have my limits on how far I'll let things go, but you know what? It's in the back. It is what it is. So what I want to hit home in this one, besides showing you our storm damage, is that I've got a lot of spaces that do not look pretty. My friends, garden gals and guys, a lot of spaces that could be considered ugly, for sure. And it's okay. Sure, some days I'm like, man, I really should have just gotten that cleaned up or da-da-da-da. But you know what? I had twins this year in June. At the end of my pregnancy, it was a bit challenging. My husband has helped me a ton in the garden. I mean, these things aren't hurting anybody. I'm not hurt. I come out and I have my attention on my cut flower garden, which brings me a lot of joy and which I take care of, so I put my intention there. It's okay. And I want to make sure that all of you give yourself grace too, because while I do appreciate those sweet, very sweet comments about my garden being beautiful and you had twins, wow, I'm amazed. Let me tell you, that's because I put my attention there and not on all of these other places. I mean, how many spots did I show you? Like 5 or 6 throughout my property. I think it's really, really easy this day and age to compare, and especially with YouTube and Instagram and all these social media type of things. Often you're just seeing the pretty parts, the buttoned up parts, the cleaned up parts, right? And I wish it was a bit more transparent throughout all of the platforms of, hey, this is real life too, and this part is not exactly pretty, but it's okay. It's okay, because I've compared myself for sure. I'm sure some of you have, and I think it's just much healthier if we say, hey, look, I've got some ugly areas too, and it's okay. It's okay. And to be honest, I have no plans to clean up the east side of our house or the back patio right now. The driveway I do want to clean up a little bit, but we'll get there, you know? So I'm going to give myself grace. You guys give yourself grace too. Deal? Comment below and let me know. Yes, I hear you, sister. I am with you, sister. Okay, for anyone else who was affected by the storm, I hope that you have power. I hope that everything is getting cleaned up and you're safe. And we will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching and coming along on this kind of different episode, but the transparency episode, shall we call it. I hope it was beneficial to see. I am going to stop it here. We'll see you in the next one. Like this video if you enjoyed it and if you're going to give yourself some grace on your property now, right? I want to hear it. I want to hear yes. See you in the next one. Happy planting.